Hi, my name is Keen Hackler, and this is an assignment for Eastern Oklahoma State College. I am to give a persuasive speech over a topic of my choosing. I chose capital punishment, and I hope you enjoy. If a man commits murder, should the old principle eye for an eye be applied, or should he sit in a protected environment away from the troubles of everyday life? Maybe there's someone you know who has been a victim of a crime, and maybe you honestly felt that that person who committed it should have repercussions in some way. I believe that if a person commits a horrible crime, whether it be murder or something even worse, then that person should pay for it in some measure. I've had this discussion with many people throughout my life, and no matter what they say, my stance doesn't change, but theirs does. Today I want to explain the problem that people have with the death penalty, why they have this problem, and why it should stay in our American justice system. Maybe after today I convince you why I think the way I do, and maybe change your mind in the process. First off, capital punishment is a hot topic with many people and communities, with one side for it and the other against it. You hear about this problem all the time in your life, whether capital punishment should be allowed or not. However, where do you hear this most at? We hear about this a lot in Congress. Constant laws and debates spring up all the time in the lawmaking bodies of our country. Both sides debate on their stance of this practice and hope to swing the votes in their way. We also hear about this topic on everyday news stations and even on the internet. These sites and stations can be biased, however, but they do shape people's opinions on the topic by discussing the pros and cons of capital punishment. We even hear about this topic in our own households, with family or with our groups of friends. Everyone has a stance, but this is where we were most likely to hear about it first. Our personal relationships will tell us how they think, and in turn, debate can spring up if you disagree. People will have different opinions on this topic, and many different outlets of information affect people's judgment, whether it be from Congress, the news, or even close friends and family. However, why can't people just stick with the same ideas and end the debate for good? People have a hard time deciding whether or not if the death penalty should stay in our justice system. This is a chart showing the approval and disapproval of capital punishment. The top chart is approval, and the bottom one is disapproval. Obviously, more people are for it. Maybe you've had this problem come up before in your life. Maybe the idea of capital punishment came up between you and a friend, or you both debated on it due to different opinions. Maybe instead you had to write a report for the subject or for an assignment in class. Whatever the case may be, you know what this whole debate is about, but why do we have this debate at all? First, for one, people have different opinions on the subject. Some people may resort to simple ideas such as morality, Constitution, even the cost of staying in prison versus death to help their reasoning. People also feel like there's a chance of putting an innocent person to death. People can even take the argument a step further by saying the person can even redeem themselves from their path. However, opponents of this say that it is the person's fault for being there and that they deserve their fate for committing the crime. People also feel that the United States should follow the examples of other countries like Britain, who abolished the death penalty. Others, however, feel like we should make our own decisions in these kinds of cases. So now that we've all laid the reasons on why people have different opinions, let me explain how capital punishment is a viable and good practice to do. Capital punishment is an okay practice in our justice system, and it needs to stay. I presented a question earlier. Should an eye for an eye be applied to a murderer? What if that murderer hurt someone in your family? Would you want some kind of closure to help end your pain? Capital punishment gives families that closure. Capital punishment removes the worst scum from society and provides safety to others. These criminals couldn't permit any more crimes and couldn't be allowed back outside to cause problems for anyone. The cost of the death penalty isn't actually as bad as people think. The reason why the penalty causes so much money is because of the amount of appeals and delays in carrying out the sentence. It also helped cut down on prisoner expenses and overcrowding. People have noticed a lesser degree rate of serious crimes in countries like Singapore, where the penalty is allowed. It has also been shown to decrease the rate of first-degree murders or crimes. There are so many more reasons as to why the death penalty should be allowed. These are some of the most basic ones. People can still have their opinions, but I won't change mine. This whole speech was to let you see where I come from on this topic and why I believe the capital punishment is a good practice for our justice system. As you can see, this debate will probably never go away, for people all have their reasons as to why they think they do, but I also have mine. I believe an eye for an eye is a good thing. Let me end this speech on this question. If someone hurt your family, would you want them to sit cozy in a cell or actually pay for the pain they've caused you and your loved ones? Thank you for watching.